Hey, good morning, everybody. It's 9 a.m. in San Francisco. This is Patricia Dugan, and I'm very, very excited to come to you today with a really, really cool online meetup. As per usual, we'll get started with some of the fun things that I like to touch on, so you know who we are, what we're getting into today. So, I am Patricia Dugan. I'm the head of community, gratefully for Containus, and I manage creating cool stuff for our developers and our users on the marketing side, and focused on traffic and mesh. And what an online traffic meetup is we showcase developers and companies who use traffic and show how they are using traffic and mesh to solve interesting technical challenges. Say that 10 times fast. So there's a few things I'd like you to know. Uno is that Containus is hiring. So if you're looking for work or you know someone who's amazing with microservices, Kubernetes, traffic, mesh, Golang, please go to our careers page and holler and let them know you heard about the opportunity on the online meetup. Then we have a ton of events coming up. We're going to be at KubeCon. We have online meetups. We're going to be in London. So I will share these things in the chat box as well. And what else do I want to tell you? Oh, something before we get going. See these fancy shirts that, well, you're going to see Alejandro, our speaker today, has one on too. This is the traffic ambassador. If you're wondering how to become a traffic ambassador, I will leave a link in the chat box, but there are 3 ways: code contributions, community contributions, and content contributions, meaning making videos, tutorials, writing blog posts, as our speaker today has done. So if you're interested in earning your badge as a traffic ambassador, please let us know via Twitter or via this link that I'm going to share with you. So let's move on to who's presenting today. It's going to be super cool. His name is Alejandro Betancor. He's going to present providing high available AI assistant with Rasa, Docker, and Traefik. Alejandro is a master Pak Hak Pai at Kung Fu and a practitioner of Diamond Way Buddhism, which I'm totally intrigued by because in this day and age, you know, I'm all into the like keeping it chill. And so how this is going to go is I'm going to share his GitHub link of today's presentation in the chat box, and we encourage you to ask questions and answer questions, because at the end of today's session, we're going to go through all of the questions you submit, and Alejandro will answer them. So with that, I am going to pass the mic over to Alejandro, and we are going to rock it out with him. So enjoy the show, and thank you for joining us today.
Hi everyone, this is Alejandro Betancor here, and I am very happy to join this meetup with Traefik. Well, then I can share my screen and we can start with the meetup, with the presentation, and talk a little bit who I am and what are we doing today. Okay, let me share the screen here. Okay, cool. I think it is visible. Patricia, can you write if you can see the screen just to be sure that it's everything fine?
Screen looks great.
Okay, wonderful. Yeah. Oh, went back. Okay, guys, and as Patricia said, we are today presenting what is a high available AI assistant with Rasa in a Docker Swarm cluster using Traefik as a load balancer. Then basically just to know who I am the CEO of Gonkar IT Security. This is basically like a cloud and consultancy for security company. And I am the CTO at Ibindo. That is a chatbot company that we're developing like chatbots with artificial intelligence to help people with some health issues and so on. I am a cybersecurity research, like some people call it like ethical hackers. And cloud infrastructure engineer. I am always happy to do open source. I mean, if you will see that I will show like the own Gonkar GitLab, the next cloud from Gonkar, because everything I like to have everything like running on premise and or in our own cloud, just because of data privacy. And well, why Traefik and Rasa? Actually, we can see if we go to the documentation from Rasa, and we see the default configuration that they offer for the SSL. Basically, it relies on Nginx, and we can see that this is a process that you need to generate the certificate with Let's Encrypt and so on, or you can bring your own. And well, then you have to copy paste the certificate into the folder, and it can be a little bit of a hustle, or it's more work. And in my case, since I met Traefik, it's like Traefik make these steps really easy, and you don't have to handle the file system in this case. Like you don't have to be creating a certificate folder and so on, just to put there the key and the chains. I mean, from my point of view, it's like too much work, and if Traefik is already doing it automatically, it's the best, and you can keep it as a code, right? So let's go again to the presentation. Oops. Then other thing is that Traefik, it offers like a really nice dashboard where you can see and have a nice overview of your infrastructure. And for example, here I have the Traefik dashboard, and basically you can see like, okay, yeah, we have a load balancer. You can see how many servers we have in the backend. This is like the server that we have right now running Rasa. We can see the status and some options and rules that we are passing to the load balancer. And again, if we compare with other solutions for load balancing, they don't have this nice built-in dashboard with useful information that can help you to have a better overview of your infrastructure. And let's go back here. And the last point is that it's really easy to set up. This is one of the best features that Traefik has. Really, it's something that is priceless. I must say thank you to the guys, to the developers of Traefik, because they did a really nice job to integrate this load balancer with everything that is related with container technology, and to keep everything as a code, to make everything really easy. And yeah, because some people can say like, yeah, but come on, with Nginx or with HA proxy, you can do it, you can do the same, and you can do this, you can do that. And I won't say that it's not possible or that, but the thing is that Traefik is a tool that was developed, or it is being developed, just to be used for the container environment. Well, not just, but is highly focused into that direction. Right, let's go to the next thing about this meetup. Well, basically, we have a few points. And I must say that this is a really long topic about all the deployment of Rasa Assistant, and it may take really long. Then this is why I decided to make a deployment before we started, because if not, it will be like maybe 2 hours just for that, and to configure and to show how it is working. Then, well, basically in this use case that I am showing, we are using the CI/CD from GitLab for the automation. And then what is CI/CD is doing? When we push the code or any change into our repository, as we know, it will take this code, it will build the image for Rasa, and it will deploy it in our Docker Swarm cluster. And then we will see how we configure the Traefik labels into the Docker Compose, just to give the right configuration to our Rasa instance. Then the AI Assistant by itself, our Traefik bot, as it is called from me. Then some Rasa config for the load balance deployment. That this point is interesting because when you want high availability deployment and you want to have more than one backend, then it is important to have a ready server configuring in your what's the word? Yeah, in your Rasa cluster, in order to manage to which backend one user is communicating to. And this is really important. And also, I want to show how this auto discover works from Traefik, how it will discover the new instances that they're running in the back. And then we will check how our agent is working in Mattermost. Mattermost is one chat platform. And then we will have a small talk with our bot, and we can talk with him, and maybe we can change it and do some nice experiment with it. Okay, then regarding what is the CI/CD from the GitLab, which is our configuration, because I mean, I guess like from the developers who are checking and looking at this meetup right now, you know, the Circle CI, you know, Travis, and trillion of them. And in this case, I use GitLab because we use GitLab as our Git repository, and I like how it works. I run everything in our own cloud, and we can have a look at our configuration of GitLab to make this deployment. And then basically what we are doing, we create two stages, build and deploy. Really simple. We can keep it like that right now. And guys, and something that is really cool, if you like the repository and the configuration and so on, you're always welcome to register into the git.gonkar.com, and you can collaborate and improving or fixing some issues that maybe you find here, right, in this code. It will be awesome. Yeah, then, okay, let's go back here. Then basically what we are doing is that first we build our images from the code that we have. We have our Rasa code, Docker code, sorry, that is just right here. I mean, this is our Docker file. And if we look at our Gitlab CI, we can see it here that we are calling the Docker file to make the build, to perform the build, right? Then we do the same with the Rasa SDK, that in this case, the Rasa SDK is what we call an action server. And in this action server, you can make like custom actions that they don't belong to the Rasa core. And then you can create some actions like, for example, maybe you want to order some food, and then you need to connect to the API of the restaurant, and then you have to make the action there. And then you will need action server, that is the Rasa SDK. And also Rasa, they offer the possibility that you can create your own Rasa server, your own action server in case if you need it, right? Okay, then our CI/CD build, pushed to our private repository. And afterwards, it goes to our Docker host, that is the Swarm cluster, and it makes the deployment. We can see here, it makes the login to our Docker instance, and then it runs the Docker stack deploy, and it uses our Docker compose file, and it gives the name to the stack in this case. Also here you can see some variables, and if you want to use this repository to run your Rasa stack, it will be important that you change this information. This information is here, and these are the tokens, like the passwords, and then obviously it's highly advised if you change it because it's about security. And please, you see here the password from Postgres SQL. Change me, yeah. Please change it. And then another point that is important for our deployment is the Git submodule strategy. That this is saying to our Gitlab CI/CD that it needs to fetch the information from the submodules Git repositories. Because what we are doing, we are having the submodule of the Rasa repository and from the Rasa SDK repository. This is really, really important to have in mind. But well, it's already here in the code. Then let's go to the presentation to see something more. Okay, then we have the Traefik labels in Docker Compose. And we have it just here, and we have to have a look at that because it's a really important thing. Yeah, yes, I need a second because I changed the zoom of the Visual Studio just to make it readable for everyone, and now for me it's hard to move around. Okay, it's here. Then here we have our Docker Compose. Here we have all the definition from our services of the Rasa stack. And basically we use as a base the one that is offered by Rasa, and I did some modifications for our use case. For example, we don't use the Nginx container that they offer normally. We also remove the duckling service for entity extraction. Is part of, I mean, you can use a duckling entity extraction service to improve your bot in case if you need it. And well, these are the things that we remove. And well, here we have just to define some variables that the Docker Compose is using, like database credentials, Rabbitmq, the Rasa X variables that we configure, and the Rasa service credentials, because it is important to know, and I think I have a slide for that. Yeah, that is about the components, and I think the better is I start explaining the components before we go to the file. It may be wise. Okay, then in our stack, that is what we are seeing here in the Visual Studio, we have these services that are listed here in this slide. We have the Rasa X. That Rasa X is a really nice web interface that Rasa provides to us, where you can manage the conversations, you can create conversations, and what I will do, I will just show it to you because I think it's easier. And basically this is our Rasa X. And in Rasa X, for example, you can see the conversations that your user are having. Then if you have a tester, you can check what is going on with them, if the conversation is being smart or not. Then you can see your training data, right? And Well, here basically you can add new data, you can modify intents. It's like, in simple words, you have like all that you need to manage your Rasa instance. And I will try just to don't make it so long, because we will have a look at it later. And we go back here. Then that is the Rasa X web GUI. And then we will have a service that is a Rasa production that is running the Rasa core system. And this instance, I mean, this service is the one that we are connecting, for example, to Slack, we are connecting to Mattermost, we are connecting to Facebook Messenger, and so on. Right? It's the one who is giving the face to the internet, just to get the communication with the other chat providers. Then we have the Rasa worker. Normally we use this one for the training of the data. And something that I did, because sometimes I am smart, I will show you, is that they have a definition. And then I don't have to be repeating some unnecessary words. And then, yeah, then here we can see that we have the Rasa production. Is a Rasa service running a trained model used for parsing intent messages and predicting actions in conversations with users over the input channel. The input channel can be, as I said, Slack, the Mattermost, and so on. Then we have the Rasa worker, the one that we were talking right now. This the Rasa service used for the background task, and they are the ones of training the model. Because what happened is that when we have our data here in Rasa X, and we can maybe teach our bot to speak Spanish. I mean, we can say hola, no? And we say enter, and then hola, we say that it is it's a greeting, greet, and then we mark it as correct. We have to train the bot just to make it smarter. No, it's artificial intelligence. And then now that we're training, this training is going to this worker service. And then after it is trained, we will have the possibility to find our new model with the new information in here. And we can activate it. And then if we will say hola to the bot, then he will say, okay, I understand you, right? Then we have the next service in our stack, that is the Postgres Sql Database. And in this case, it is really important that you check which database you want to use, because this is what is called a tracker store in Rasa language, let's say. And what it does is give you the possibilities to save conversations, to keep tracking on certain things, and depending which kind of database you're using, they give different, how to say, like different features of what you can track. Then we have the Rabbitmq. That is well explained here what it's doing. It's a message broker used to transmit conversations events between the Rasa production instance and the Rasa X interface. Then we have the Redis server, the service. That is just for the conversation logs. That, as I explained before, what it does is just that if we have 20 backends servers, I mean, like with these 20 backends, I mean 20 Rasa production instances running, right? Then if you're talking to one, then your conversation will always go to the same server, just to keep the consistency of your conversation, right? Then, oh, this is the end of my slides. Now let's go back here. And then we go to the Docker Compose, because now we know the stack, we know what each service is doing, and then then we will understand what the Docker Compose is doing. And in the Docker Compose, we have the Traefik configuration. Yeah, because this is a Traefik webinar, then we have to talk about it too, right? Yeah, then basically at the beginning, we do the definition of the variables that we want to use in our Docker deployment. And guys, this is a lot of information. if you have a lot of questions, then you can just write it in the chat, or for the question that we have at the end, I think, of the webinar, it will be good. And then here we start configuring the services. And yeah, here, services. Then basically in this part, we have the Rasa X configuration. And the Rasa X, normally we want to be able to reach this service from the outside. And in this one, we have to use the label for Traefik just to announce our service. Oh, wait, there's a message here. Ah, no, it's Patricia that is showing some information. Okay. Yeah, as I was saying, this is our Rasa X service. And here we have the Traefik labels configuration. And then basically, and this is one of the easy things that Traefik has, is that instead of having to go to Traefik to configure your backend and your frontend and so on, and then maybe you need to edit other files, Traefik make it easier, and then you can just configure your Docker Compose to use labels that Traefik use in order to make the deployment of the certificate, to make the discovering of new instances, to know which is the domain that is being used in the front end that have to be redirected to the backend, and so on. Then in our configuration, basically we enable the Traefik. That's very important. Then we specify which is the Docker network. In this case, we use Traefik net. There is something that is really interesting to see, is that because I saw it a few times in the internet, that some people use just one network. And then in that network, you have your database, you have your front end, your backend, and Traefik. And I mean, for sure that work. But talking from the security perspective, it's always better if you can define an internal network that, in this case, we use default. And you can use one network, and that one network is just for the Traefik communication. It's a network that Traefik will use to communicate with your backend specifically. Because, in the security world, when you put everything in one box or in one network, then if something happens to that network, then something bad can happen. And then we continue. Then here we have the routers configuration, and we create a simple rule. And in this rule, what we are saying is just say which is the host, and the host is basically the domain that is being used by your application. I mean, then this domain will be in the front end. I mean, it will be the one that will receive the request, and then the request will be balanced to the backend. Then we specify that we want to use the entry points HTTPS for security, for encrypted communication. And here, with this label, we specify which is the port that our backends are using. Then, as we can see in our service, we have the webinar bot X, I mean the Rasa X, is announcing the port 5002, right? And then here, this is what we do. We are sent to Traefik to send the traffic to that Traefik and the traffic. It confused me. Yeah, to Traefik to send the traffic to that port. Then we say to use the certbot, that this is what will give the possibility to create certificates for our front end. And we can use some rules that we can configure some ACL, like access control list, with IP addresses, just to decide who can go in and who can go out. Sorry, just who can go in, sorry, who can go in to that service. Because, I mean, in this case, the configuration is there, but I didn't apply it yet. But what happened is that in Rasa X, you have the configuration, you have the conversations. And sometimes, depending what is happening with your Rasa assistant, then you may not like if someone can get access, you know, from outside of your office network and so on, and then see what your customers, users are saying. Maybe if you work in the health industry, it would be really good just to block it, to block the access. And yeah, then I put this here as a reference that you can do that. And I highly encourage people to do that, to keep privacy private. Yeah, then this is the configuration of our Rasa X service regarding the Traefik labels. And well, some important notes, if you are deploying these services, hopefully you will do it, and you will let me know how easy or hard it is. I think it's easy. Is that, well, then you have this, what I wanted to let you know is that we have these volumes, and it's important that you create these volumes, and also that you add these files, because what happened is that inside of this directory, models, is where your data of the training models will go. I think it's important to have it there. There can be a really nice configuration that maybe we can improve the deployment in that direction, that we can use S3 storage, and we can host the models there, and then we can get rid of this thing here. And then we need to also define the environments, YML, and the endpoints, YML, that they have important information, like in, what happened here? Okay. For example, in the environments.yml, we have the production environment, and we have the worker, right? And this is important for Rasa X to know which is the one who is talking with the user, for example, and which is the one that he needs to send the workload, like train the models and so on. Then we have the endpoints, and the endpoints is a really interesting part, because it's where we are specifying where our Rasa instance have to fetch the models. Where are they stored? In this case, we're storing the model locally. Then we configure our tracker stores, aka our database. And we configure our event broker, meaning our Rabbitmq. And somewhere here, hidden, okay, here it is, we have our action service URL. There's this one that, as we spoke before, we use this action server just to run custom actions, like custom functions programs, in order to make our bot richer. Let's say in that way, it's richer. Yeah, then this is our service for Rasa X. And I see I am taking a little bit long to explain the things, but it's a lot of information, I must say. I will try to hurry up a little bit. Then the next service that is being configured with Traefik is the Rasa production, because this is the one that the Slack, Mattermost, Facebook Messenger will need to connect to, right? And here, the configuration, I must say, is pretty much the same in the Traefik labels. But in this case, I am not using the ACL, I mean, the blocking some certain IP addresses. I'm not doing it because I need different services to go to reach it. And by the rest, is practically the same. We specify the port, that is the 5005. We ask to use HTTPS protocol. We define a cert resolver, that is a cert bot from Let's Encrypt. And wait, what happened here? And our domain URL frontend for the bot. That is webinar.sas.gonkar.com. Then with that, we know what are the most important services that Traefik is helping us to serve, to provide. Then we have our other services like the worker, that is a Rasa instance, but for doing some tasks, and we can see that we don't have any labels from Traefik specified here. And guys, and something that is really important, all this configuration is done for Traefik 2.1. And maybe if you are interested, you can check my blog adminsecurity.guru, and there are like really nice articles. Well, I hope they're nice. One is migrating from Traefik 1.7 to the 2.1, and also another one that is about how to get a score plus A in SSL Labs. Then you can have a look. I try to update when I can. I don't have so much time to write, but the information here is cool. For security standard like this, TLS configuration is really nice, and how to move forward to the new version is really important to keep up to date, and to use any features from Traefik. And about the changing from one version to the other, I really like the new version, the version 2, because the dashboard is really nice. If you have been playing with Traefik and the 1.7 version, you will see a huge difference. It is super cool how they show all the data. Like, you can really understand what is happening. And for example, if we go to the dashboard, to the main, to the main page, you can see all the routers that you have, and also if they are successful, if you have warnings, if you have errors, also the services, the middleware that you can use. And man, it's really nice system. And also you have these extra features, like you can include tracing, metric with Prometheus, and so on. It's just fantastic. Okay, then I will stop the advertising to Traefik version 2, and let's go to the work. If I remember where we were. Yeah, we were talking about the blog and the deployment and so on. Then the Docker Compose. Then the other services, they don't need any special Traefik configuration, right? You just have to be aware of the volume of the database for them to exist and so on. And someone is writing. Yeah, because we are, Patricia, sorry, I was reading. Yeah, and then basically this is like the important part of the configuration. You will see it in the compose and everything that we have here. And basically, if you are running GitLab, the GitLab will make the deployment automatically in your Docker Swarm cluster. And you have to be aware of, please, changing here your Swarm cluster or Docker host just to make the deployment. And you have to configure your SSH variables for the Docker host. And you will be able to connect and deploy, right? And Sergey, I think we can answer the question in a few minutes when we finish. Yeah, then what will happen when we are making a deployment, as everyone knows, it will go to our amazing pipeline. You can see it over here. it will make the building process automatically. If you want, you can use the one from the git.gonkar.com just for the testing. You make all the configurations that they are needed. They add all the files, and then it deployed directly to Swarm, right? We connect to the host, make Docker stack deploy, beautiful, automatic, and it works. Then our end result is that we have Rasa X deploy, we have the Rasa service, and what is left is just that we have to connect our bot to some source, you know, to some channel that we can talk. And in Rasa, it offers a solution that we can share our bot that we can create right now. It generates a link. And I will paste it here in the chat. No, just some people can.
And I'm going to throw a little surprise in here. Someone said, and I'm not sure if it's feasible to do right now, but Mihai said, please add some automation or documentation on how to set up the Docker volumes. And if we can do that, great. If we can't, great. But just want to let you know.
Yeah. I'm reading, but the thing is that I am taking really long to explain the things, and maybe it will be, it will take a little bit longer to do all the stuff.
Well, what I suggest we do is, because we need to let you keep going so we can show them everything today, but we could follow up later on the Q&A just with some answers. So that's what we'll do now. Thanks.
Okay, then I dropped the link directly in the here in the chat, and you could chat with the bot, or we can also open it here. And hopefully the bot will be working. Let's see. Because I did some changes. Okay, it may be an epic fail here. Let's see what may happening in the backend. Okay. Yeah, then the bot somehow is not going right now. I don't know. Maybe I did some change there, and now it's not going. I don't know why. But it's a not nice surprise. But then we can check quickly here if something is happening, or we can just restart the system like typical IT thing. We can restart the service. Now it's logging back. Yeah, because I have a second instance running too. Sorry. Yeah, we have now to restart this. Yeah, because what happened is I had another instance running. By mistake, I deployed it, and it was using the same service as this deployment for the webinar, and it was making a crash. Then let's just wait a second, and we can see it. And in the meanwhile, I just show you what is the link from directly from Rasa X, and something that is really nice is to configure with one channel. Like in this case, we have Mattermost. That it is right here, and with Mattermost, basically we can attach, or we can bind the bot with one channel, and the people in that channel, they can talk with the bot, right? And that's awesome. And basically for the configuration of the bot, I can show it here just while the service restart. Is that we have the credentials? Yeah. Basically, we need to configure our credentials file. And there we need to specify the Mattermost URL of the API. That is this one. We need to say in which team of Mattermost we want to be deployed, then the username. And it is important that right now in this moment you have to use a user, a normal user, not a bot token, okay? And the password of that user. Then we need to specify the Rasa webhook, that is this one. And our bot will be ready to connect from the Rasa side, and from Mattermost side, we just need to have the outgoing webhook configured. And for that, I can share an interesting link, but from the Mattermost documentation, it's here, that you know exactly what this has to be done. For that, I will copy it also in the chat. And then you will know how to make your configuration too for Mattermost. And well, also in the documentation, you will have also how to configure the other channels. Then I don't know, let's see if the bot is alive. Let's just restart it just in case with a restart command. Oh, look, yeah, our bot is back in business. And then, well, hello, welcome to Traefik webinar. How do you like it? And so far, the bot is not so smart. Because I think I just put, I have to say yes. And so on, but right now there is not so much content. But, for example, something that we can do right now, that we can test, is the follow, that we can add information to, I mean, some data to our model about what the bot will reply. For example, if we say yes, we can say something like awesome, or I am glad you like it, or so on. Yeah, then here we say, we put the phrase that we want to use. We need to create a new utterance for the bot. It can be utter, glad. It's a good thing. Yep. Then we need to add it to our story. And the thing that we're doing is really nice, because then we know why Rasa X is so cool, because we can edit directly. And something that you will see when you will look at the repository is that our Rasa instance is connected to our Git repository, and then automatically it will synchronize between your repo and your Rasa X, and then you can have your conversations saved as a code in GitLab, GitHub, or your private Git repository. Okay, and here we add Otter and Glad. I think is what we added. Yeah, then we save it, and then we train it. And it should train quite fast. And here, as you see here, we have the information about the Git repository. That is a really nice feature from Rasa. It's quite new. And if you don't know how to enable it, you have to go to the menu under, and you go to experimental, and you need to check it. Okay, then the bot was trained, and then we have our new model that was trained by the Rasa worker. We activate it, and then if we go to talk with our body, let's say, oh wait, it should understand Spanish. Ah, yeah, he knows Spanish right now because we did it before at the beginning. And then we say yes, and he should reply something. Ah, sorry. We need to mention the bot. We need to tag him. This is the trigger word for the bot to work. And I'm glad you like it. And then this is how you can train your bot at new things. And as we can see, this is something really cool, that we connect our Mattermost or whatever channel you want to use to our Rasa instance, just using amazing Traefik. And something that I also wanted to show is that if we are well, in my case, I'm in Portainer, okay, but maybe you just use a CLI. And if we scale up our production instance, is the one that is handling all the conversations, we can go to scale, and we say now, okay, now I want to. Okay, it should be deployed in a second. The thing is that in a moment, it should appear in our service here. In the service.
And Alejandro, I'm just going to interrupt for a second to say,
Yeah.
to acknowledge the fact that we have around 10 minutes until the official ending. If anyone here, you know, I really want you to finish the presentation, so I think we're going to go over as needed. But I want to thank everyone who came in, and feel free to ping in the chat box if you have anything to say before you take off. But I hope you can stay with us. So sorry to interrupt. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Patricia. Okay, then here, yeah, let me see that if it is going, okay, it's running. Okay, and then as we see, then Traefik automatically it detects the new backend. And then what is important is like, okay, yeah, we have a new backend. We need to see that the bot is really being able to communicate to the server that we were talking to before. And then we can talk again to the bot to see if it's still working. And he's replying. And then basically what it is doing is just that the Traefik is recognizing the new asset, I mean the new service instance running, that is the Rasa production service, and then is balancing. But thanks that we are using the Redis log in our Rasa stack, then he always knows where to send the message. I mean, and he knows that always to send it to the right backend server. And basically, guys, I think this is the end of the presentation because we explain how we use Traefik, why we use it with Rasa. We show how the deployment work with the CI/CD. We saw that it's working. We saw the Rasa X, and we connected to one of the channels, and we can speak with the bot. And then, yeah, I think we can say that we finished the presentation. And thank you very much to everyone.
You're not done yet. There's actually two questions.
Yeah.
One is coming from me. I have the bot on Twitter, so I played with it on my notebook, on my desktop, and I also played with it on my mobile. And when I played with it on my mobile, it was right when you were having the restart issue. And my mobile is still showing that it's broken, like when I click on the link, but on my desktop, it's showing it's working.
Yeah, and normally what you have to do, let me show here. Yeah, because if someone else from the who is looking at the webinar has the same issue, the best is just to restart. And to restart, you will have two options. Oh, wait, I have the link here. Copy. Yeah, basically we have two options that it will be. Here you have, in your phone you will have this button here that is a restart.
Yes.
And then basically you need to restart it. Or you can just write /restart.
Perfect.
And then it should restart the conversation.
Okay, cool. This is super, super, super cool. I love the real time of it. And then one question from Serge, thank you so much, is can Traefik serve as the SSL termination point for the Rasa WebSocket port? For example, inbound goes to SSL, goes to traffic, clear goes to Rasa.
Yeah, absolutely. Even if you look at the configuration that we have right now, yeah, well, the thing is that you will have to have a look inside of many things, but the backend, what is inside of the Rasa stack, is running in HTTP, okay, like in clear text, let's say. And you can see that, for example, here we have HTTP and we have the port 5002, that it is the one that we have somewhere here. Yeah, the 2000, this one, 5002, that we have configured here is speak plain text, and then our traffic is receiving the request and is doing like the offloading, and it send the request to the backend. And then basically, yes, you can do it.
Cool. Serge, I hope that answered your question. Let us know in the chat box right
Yeah,
away.
and also, sorry, Patricia, for the interruption.
No,
And if you have any question or anything, you can always go to the Git page that we share here, and you can open an issue and so on. Okay, feel free, because the idea is to improve everything that we have.
let me reshare that, because that one question that is kind of hard for us to answer right here. Maybe he wants to, you're welcome. Maybe he wants to contact you through that. And then I want to let everyone know that if you subscribe to our YouTube channel, which I will put in the chat box now, then when this goes live, you can watch it over and over.
Great, that's really cool.
Yeah, and then you know, you can holler at Alejandro on Twitter or me too, but clearly about the Rasa stuff. This has been very cool for me. It's really interesting because the way you present it is quite calm, but it actually, you did a lot during the session. So I think it was a great session. Does everyone have any feedback? Did you enjoy it? Did you learn something? We'd really appreciate your feedback. And any comments you want to say to Alejandro while he's here? Anything you want to say, Alejandro? And then I want to prop up the upcoming next 2 online meetups.
Well, the only thing that I have to say is that that we're always working with Rasa, and is I mean, we're always welcoming you to check the repository and to work as a community and improve the deployment. And there was a question from Mihai asking about no, Mihai, I work with OpenShift. no, with plain Kubernetes.
Okay.
But yeah, but no, because I am just replying to him that he's right.
Okay.
Yeah, and the thing is that, okay, Mihai was asking about to make documentation about deployment to automate the volumes, and it's something that we can talk also in the repository if we do it. But basically, I already changed the deployment. Just I didn't want it to make it live right now because I need to test it better. Because if you're making a new deployment, you don't want to define folders. And then now we have a folderless deployment. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because it's for the zero touch. And yeah, I already have it, and I will have just to put it in the main repository, the changes. Yeah.
And just for the people who aren't reading the chat, what we were talking about is a script, and for the sake of zero touch, that's what they were talking about. So cool. I mean, this has been very cool. Thank you, Mihai, and everyone else who asked questions and engaged, Serge, and for your feedback. What we have coming up, KubeCon's coming up, so that means that the scheduling's a little different. But on March 12th, we have Alex Ellis of OpenFaaS, and his is someone from his community and the greater traffic community also, Alistair Hay. And I'm going to put the registration link in the chat box. And of course, you know, if you sign up to our newsletter, you'll hear about all of this stuff. What's going to happen now with this beautiful session from Alejandro is this is going to go to YouTube. It's going to go into an email that we'll send to you all, so you can watch it. And what else happens? And that's about it. Long live the King Alejandro, our ambassador. So thank you so much. We'd like
Thanks to you for the time and the space to share with the community.
It's
Thank
a
you very
pleasure.
much.
And everyone, we do a virtual fist bump if you're down, and they're magical, and send you on your merry way. And Alejandro, thank you so much, and thank you for coming, everybody. So we'll see you later. Any final words, Alejandro?
No, just thank you to everyone. I am always happy to share knowledge when there is time.
Yeah.
And I must say that it was for me like challenging to organize this time to present this meetup, because I have always so many things to do. And yeah, but I am always really happy to share with community to see what I'm doing, and that other people can use that material also for their own test and or even projects, you know, for companies and services.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna go play with my bot now and get distracted. So
yeah.
see you later.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye.